Here we have a worksheet of different sales reps having sold their uphill bicycle tour sales over the 12-month period. And what we want to do is come up with a number of different function formulas that are pretty basic. I mean, ones that you'll use a lot throughout your ventures with doing calculations and so forth. I'm going to show you a number of different techniques of putting in these different function formulas and how they will best work for you. So the first one I want to start out with is over on the side here. We have all of our reps. We have the 12 months of sales, and what I want to be able to do is just kind of add up all of their numbers, throughout the year. Now we know what they did over the months. We just want to know what they did for the 12-month period. So one way you can do this is you can go ahead and you can select from 03, so from Chip's row there all the way down to Wanda, so about right there. Oh yeah, and we could probably just go, well, we'll stop here. This will be good. And then what we'll do is we'll go in the Home tab, and over here we have the Auto Sum button. So this is an automatic way of putting in the sum function, which is one of your more popular function formula calculations. So we're going to click onto that, and boom, it puts all of the formulas in there for you. And we can actually do the same thing going along the bottom here. So for the totals that we have for each of the months, so we have all of our reps selling over the 12-month period. We want to know what all the reps did in January, February, March, and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and select that range all the way across, go back and hit that auto sum, and there we go. So pretty easy thing to do. Now the next thing we want to look at are the averages, and what we'd like to see when we look at all the numbers that we have in each of the months, I'd like to know what all of these reps numbers in January and February, March, and so forth, but on a per month basis, what they average to. All right. Now to do that, we can't really select the whole range and kind of do the auto average. I mean, it's possible to do it, but what's going to happen is it's going to try to do all of this row as well. Okay, so to give you an idea, I'll just do it, and you'll see what happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and just select it there. Click onto this drop down arrow next to the auto sum, and that's where that one is hiding out. So you'll see average in there. So I go ahead and click on the average, and you say, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. Well, if you click onto that cell and then look at the range that the formula is calculating, it's going to be doing the average of C3 through C25, and C25 or row 25 is your total row. So we can't have that. So a better way of doing this, and I'll just go back up here and just hit undo a couple times or once here to do that. The other way of doing it would be to still use the auto average technique, but redo the range. So you'll see what I'm talking about here. So we're going to go here to C26, hit that little drop down arrow, click on to average. Is going to want to do, from Chip all the way down to total. You can see the range selected there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reselect the range just by selecting it like this. So we do that all the way down to Wanda. Let go, and then enter that in. And there we go. Now that is the proper average. You click on there, you can see that right there. Now, the next thing you'll do is you'll just copy it across. Bottom right-hand corner, you drag it across like that, let go, and we're perfect. Okay, so now the next function formula we're going to be putting in is called standard deviation. Standard deviation, quite simply, is how far we can go from the average to say that those numbers up to that point are within reason, are reasonable numbers. Anything beyond that point are kind of out of range, and you can make your own kind of determinations as to what they are. We're going to go ahead and do the formula. We'll take a look at how it compares and so forth, and maybe you can get a better idea. So what we're going to do here is we're going to click on to C27, and this one we're going to type in. So here's how we do this. We'll hit the equal, all right, and we're going to type in ST, all right, and you'll see standard deviation of a population. That's the one you want to go with. We double click that, all right, and all it wants to know is basically the range that you want to do this to. Now the range is going to be, again, starting from Chip's January number all the way down. We're just kind of dragging this down to Wanda, just like that. And then we just go ahead and hit the enter key. We'll go ahead and copy that across, just like that. Now when you look at the deviation, and we'll just kind of round it off, it's about 10,000. The average is 27,000. So if you can imagine the old infamous bell curve, at the peak of that bell curve is what would be the average. The point of which, when you go away from that center and you go down, it's almost like being on a roller coaster. That point where you know you're going to die, okay? It's where you're way out and you're just about ready to really start going down. That's pretty much where the standard deviation is at. So what that means is that anything that would be beyond, or be, let's say, in this case, if we were to take the 27,000 that we have here and subtract it from the 10,000, all right, let's say just leave us roughly about 17,000. Anything less than 17,000, for the most part, would be outside of that deviation, and therefore considered to be not of, being within reason, let's say. So if you're looking to find where your really just overly bad numbers are, anything outside of that range would be it. So something like Hazel's number right here would be one of them. Who else do we have here? Kathy over here as well, all right? Obviously, the more numbers you have, the more, I guess, accurate this would be. I should say it's accurate, but the idea, though, with this is that when you look at this, it just gives you a sense of, okay, where can I look and say, okay, these numbers definitely are out of norm. That would be how you do it. All right, enough with that one. Now, next one is the high number. We want to know what the highest number is in each of these ranges and have that come back as a value. So what we're going to do here is the max function. Now the max function we can actually get from the auto sum pull down. So we'll just go to here. We'll hit the little drop down in the auto sum there, and we'll click on to max. There it goes. Now, of course, it wants to do a lot more as well. Now, let me just show you something else too. When you're selecting ranges, you can actually either select from the top or the bottom. It really doesn't matter. So if you'd want to maybe just start at Wanda here, and we'll just hold on our mouse there and drag up like this, you can do that too. So whatever floats your boat, all right? We'll do that, enter that in, there we go. I'm going to leave that for now. I'm going to show you a little technique as far as copying a whole bunch of formulas over at the same time. So we'll just do that one there. All right, now the next one here, this next one is going to be referred to as the median function formula. Now, what this does is it's I don't want to say it's like an average, because it really isn't. It is sometimes used in place of the average to make numbers look better or make numbers look worse, depending. You've probably heard when they'll say something like the median household income or the median home value, that type of thing, okay? They'll sometimes use the median calculation because it'll look better than the average would be. That's my opinion on it, okay? What it basically does is it takes the the lowest number and the highest number in your range, all right, and determines what the middle value would be, not really of these numbers, but what the middle value would be on a number line, okay? That's it, all right? You might end up having it be one of these numbers. It just depends, all right? But most of the time, it's probably not going to come out that way. So here's how this works. What we'll do is we'll type in equal MED, all right? You'll see median pop up there. We'll double click that. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to select the range. So we're going to select this from there to there. Okay, now you've done that. You enter that in. Now, just looking at this first one, the average is 27,137. The middle, all right, or the median, all right, in this case, is just slightly higher. Okay, so somebody trying to make things look better than what they are might say, oh, well, the median, revenue figure was, 27,145. Not that that's a big difference between that and 137, but I guess if you're talking hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars or whatever, that might make, might be a difference there. Anyway, so that's how that one works. Now this next function is called the mode, M-O-D-E function. What this does is it will return back the number, the actual number from your list, from your range of values, where the number has occurred more than once, okay? So if you, in your range, if all the numbers are completely unique of each other, in other words, there's no repeats, no coincidences that, oh, this one and this one are exactly the same number, then you'll get just a NA type error on this. But if there are at least two numbers that are exactly the same, it will put that number in as a result. If there is one set of numbers where there's two that are the same and another set of numbers where three are the same, then it will list the number, the three, the one that has the three versus the two. Okay, so it'll be the biggest one where there's the most. It'll give you the number that where the most have occurred. Why would you ever use this? I don't know. It's just something I thought I'd throw in there. It might be useful if you've got a smaller set of numbers. Maybe the numbers range from 1 to 6 or something like that, and you find out, wow, what occurs most often is the number 5, something like that. So that might be more useful. But here, I don't think it really would make much sense to use. But we've got it in here anyway. So what we'll do is we'll type in equal, and we'll type in MO, and you'll see mode single. Okay, that's when you want to go with. So we'll double click that. And again, it's the same range. So we'll just maybe start from the top here, work our way down. There we go. Enter that in. And it gives us a value of 23,692. So I'm looking through and I say, oh, there's a 23,692 there. And I go up a little bit further and I say, oh, there's one too. Just so happens to have two of the same. All right, anyway, so there you go. The last one is going to be using the min function. This shows you what the lowest number in your range is, okay, and it has that as a result. So here, we can actually get this one also from the auto sum area if you find it to be more convenient. You can just click onto that. Click on to min, all right? Go back and reselect the range because it's selecting way too much. There we go. Enter that in, there we go. Now, as I had promised before, I wanted to show you now a real simple way of getting all of these formulas copied all at the same time. And all I really have to do here is we just kind of select the 4 of them, just like that. We go to the bottom right-hand corner, drag it across like that, and there we go. So that works perfect. So hopefully you can use some of these functions in your worksheets. I'm sure definitely the sum function, the average, those are always good ones to use. But the rest of them I think are pretty good as well. So hopefully you enjoy the videos and take care.